There are other very strong hubs in Irvine, California, which is between LA, between Los Angeles and San Diego. And you'll save, it's still California, still quite expensive, but you'll save 10, 20%. And they have an established ecosystem with the talent pools coming from universities and established organizations there that make it a wonderful place to consider. And then sort of other areas that are maybe not on the radar, Raleigh, North Carolina. So there's Research Triangle Park down there, also wonderful universities, great talent. And it has, it's probably been 20 or 30 years now. So you would hope that Raleigh is on the radar for some folks coming into the U.S. And if I think about the numbers of employees that we have across the U.S., and we have probably 40% of our clients are in the life science industry. Raleigh is one of the top 3 or 4 states where we have employees, and it's because they are known as the hub, and the cost of living is significantly lower there. So that means people are going to have houses, they're going to have children in school perhaps. So it is going to be a more rooted location than maybe some folks that are in Boston for a period to get a few years of experience or things like that. Washington, D.C. is another area. Again, if you're going to have something that's heavily regulated, finding people that can navigate the FDA. New Jersey is another one. It's outside of New York, so it's going to be less expensive than New York. Still, New York City is a place for life sciences. Philadelphia is another one. Wonderful talent pools in that area. Not an inexpensive city, but compared to New York and Boston and California, it is going to be give your budget a little bit of a breather. Seattle, which is on the West Coast, in Washington State. I find that clients are a little less willing to go to the West Coast unless they're really, really have their heart set on California, and it's purely for time zones. So if you think about the West Coast of the US and the UK, you're going to have 8 hours difference, most of Europe, 9 hours difference, and just the overlap becomes very difficult. So for sure, there's more comfort with the East Coast. Just doing some research, I was a little bit surprised to see some other cities like Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, as a place for life science hub. And I wish I could speak to that more definitively and say, yes, that's a great place or not. But for sure, there are others you can find. Also Houston and Austin, Texas. We have a lot of employees in Texas for that reason. It's not quite as far time zone wise. And the hubs are definitely building. So the talent is there and other life science organizations.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that the travel links as well for certain places make a big difference as well.
Absolutely. I was going to say that was one of the factors I used to talk with clients about pre-pandemic was just think about, how many can you get directly there from your airport, because you can plan on coming back and forth or bringing your U.S. employees to the home country, and it just makes it easier. Now, when people were traveling a whole lot, it made even more sense. So for the employee, say, if they're your first employee and they have a business development role and you have them covering the entire country, you want them to be able to actually manage that. The second step, a lot of the times, is we have one rep on the East Coast, one on the West, but it's still important. And you bring up a great point about travel hubs and when we see each other face to face, there are some clients who are going to have a research component to what they're doing. And so they will have an office or a lab, and people will need to come together, pandemic or not. But many, especially those that are looking for a business development role, they can be anywhere. So it's not as if you don't still need a U.S. person. So having face-to-face meetings and what we would say is boots on the ground is having less of a role now because we're working remotely. But you still need someone who understands the U.S. market, has the network, and so that means, yes, you're still going to want the subsidiary. You're still going to want to hire a U.S. person that's in those time zones, but you may be able to select. You may have the whole country to select from when you're finding your talent, because you don't have to be office based as much.